Hello again. Um, Recording got glitched there, so we missed a few items I'd already started, but didn't miss anything important here. Um, Gold find's a bit low here. I had a nice little argument with someone today that was convinced that magic find plus gold find, like on these shoulders, were the ideal combination for inferno farming, and took a while, but finally got him to understand that time is your most valuable affix. And by choosing an offensive or defensive stat instead of gold find, you're going to get much more return on your investment. So one little lonely person saved out of the millions of players that don't know what they're doing. So one small victory there. I've got a lot of lag today. It's storming pretty heavily in South Korea where I'm at, so it's a perfect time to be identifying stuff because I can't play for shit with 500-600 latency. I'm just gonna get killed. These pants would have been great if they had all resist because of the triple digits for the primary stats and the vitality, or even some armor for that matter. A lot of vitality when you factor in the percent modifier as well. And the damage roll is decent. It does get you into that middle tier, you know, above 250, below 350. But that's where it ends. You've got no intellect, you've got no crit, you've got no maximum arcane power, no arcane power on crit, no wizard skill bonus, so really bare bones here, but the bones it does have are decent. The time of this video, Blizzard just released the Wizard developer blog for 1.04, and unfortunately it's incredibly bare bones compared to the Barbarian. The Barbarian update from 12 hours ago had actual numbers, whereas the Wizard update had nothing. Whole lot of adjectives, basically, and no actual numbers. The only numbers they gave were the percent coefficient reduction for Wicked Wind for the Twister. They're having that from 0.25 to 0.125. So your procs are cut in half essentially. Other than that, they didn't give any numbers. They said Arcane Hydra and Venom Hydra is great, and all the other Hydras are going to be buffed up, but we're not telling you any specifics. Signature spells, we want to make them better, but we're not telling you anything specific. So a whole lot of hot air on the Wizard, which is unfortunate because after the Barbarian update and seeing really hard numbers, I was really excited to get some solid data to start then speculating more on gear for Wizards. But right now, all we can do that for is Barbarians and Legendaries. A whole lot of nothing so far. This is cutting it close. If it had some natural crit, you might be able to get 100,000 out of this because of the double crit damage potential, but it doesn't. Primary plus vitality, a gem of each, you're going to get into the triple stats, and then you're going to have a really strong armor component. Problem is, when you look at effective health pools and equivalent stats, that much armor is not going to be equivalent to, say, a good resist all roll. However, I will put a gem of each and look that up. Because triple dex, triple stat vitality, and resist all would sell. So replacing armor for resist all, we'll take a look at what the assumed value of that is in the market right now. People are not spending as much. The volume of auction house turnover right now has dropped, understandably. I mean, I said a few videos ago that I'm definitely just saving up. Oh yeah, by the way, speaking of saving up, so I sold an amulet for 85 million, and then took a huge hit, off the auction house fees. Then I also got back in my the 30 million I loaned out with a little bit of interest, and then which doesn't add up to what I have here, but that's because I have a bunch of gold that I have queued up trying to sell in the real money auction house right now. So if I pull those out liquid, I'm close to 160 million right now, which is really nice. And then I also sold, what else? I sold like a pair of gloves I bought in Trade Channel from a crafter for like 3 million, and then I flipped them for 9.5 or 10 yesterday. So nice little profit on that too. So really just trying to stockpile until the patch. Brimstones at the time of this video are now hovering around 400,000, which is almost tripled in price over the past couple weeks. Really over the past week, since they've actually given a date on the patch. I've been tempted to deck out some more Magic Find on my character and buy a pair of rings at like 40 million apiece, but I thought better of it and just held off. There should be a Magic Find blog update here in the next couple days after they get through the characters, and I really want to wait on that information until I invest any more money in Magic Find gear. I think it's pretty much always going to hold value as a very expensive additional stat on already good gear, but I'm just a little hesitant to invest in middle to top tier items right now. And I believe you should be too. Okay, really low damage modifier, which almost neuters this piece no matter what the other stats are. But you've got really good intelligence. You could get vitality up to triple digits as well with the socket, and then some moderate amount of crit. I do have, what do I have? I think I have 2 set pieces and a legendary over the last day, waiting to be identified. So we'll get to those towards the end. I found it's really consistent, what I pick up in terms of legendary items. I think the last few videos in a row have had like 4, 3, 2, 3, and now another 3. So when you're dealing in bulk, when you're identifying in volume, the percentages really do hold fairly steady. And that's, I think, how you really have to approach games like this, farming games. You can't play for an hour and then get discouraged and say, oh, I hate this game. I always get shit items. You just see people complaining in trade all the time that really don't understand. You can't take a sample size of doing a single act run and then bitch about it. It's just hilarious. And then they're beyond help too, You try and tell them that exactly what I just said, and it just does not get through to them. Okay, so you got some dexterity and some crit and some decent life regen, but there's no life component, there's no resist component really, and you've got a little bit of wasted intelligence. So you've only got the dex and the crit working for you, and the life regen is nice, but people tend to not look for that on wrists, and because it doesn't have any sort of life component, if somebody's going for life regen, they're also going to want to focus on their health pool a little bit or some resists, and life regen will be, really a 5th or a 6th affix. It's not going to be their 3rd affix of value. Magic Find Quiver. What do we got? We've basically nothing here. Really slim pickings on this thing. You got some Demon Hunter specific stuff and Magic Find, and that's it. Okay, unfortunately we've got double primaries here, and everything is in double digits. Too low. Too low. One of the unfortunate things about the legendary blog developer up blog is that they showcased a couple screenshots of legendaries that look great, but they definitely cherry picked those things to have a picture with great DPS. Their technical wording on there says that they've just allowed the lower level 61, 62s to roll up to the same top amount as level 63s, and they've applied that to legendaries. However, they don't talk about any sort of minimum for weapons. So, because getting legendary is so rare, then you multiplicatively factor in the chance to actually roll good weapon DPS on top of that. And the problem with good weapon DPS is not that it's one affix rolling. The reason it's so rare is because you've got to roll the percent damage modifier and possibly a minimum and a maximum affix, or possibly a elemental damage affix. And all of those together have to combine to get you a nice weapon DPS number. So the numbers get astronomical. There was a decent little application that somebody posted on Diablo fans the other day that was a simulator, a weapon roll simulator, and people were doing 1,000 tries and not getting a weapon with 4 digits, which I can believe. Okay, so you got double primaries here, no real life to speak of, and a wasted poison resist, although the Magic Find is decent. Dex, Vitality, Resist All. The problem is, now if this was a belt, you might get some money out of it, a small amount. But because it's gloves, you really only got 2.5 affixes here. The Dex, the Resist All, and a little bit of Vitality. And because it's gloves, you're going to want at least 4 amazingly rolled affixes or 5 well rolled affixes. Life and not much else. I do think attack speed is going to go up in value significantly with the patch. Not because of its inherent abilities, but because of all of the proc affixes on weapons and armor legendaries. And they're introducing them on other pieces too, but on like two-handers and stuff. But choosing skill builds with a higher proc coefficient, and then pairing that with high attack speed weapons, and then pairing that with attack speed on the rest of your gear, you're going to maximize those powerful procs being able to occur. The ones that summon a demon or with fire chains or summon an angel to fight with you, they only last so long. So to optimize your average uptime, you're going to want the highest attacks per second combined with a very fast attack skill. More hits per second, essentially. Same sort of theory as the Scoundrel video I put up. Okay, so we've got a cold damage bow here, and then natural vitality and great attack speed. The problem is there's no crowd control proc. So if this had, a 3 or 4% chance to freeze or stun or knock back, I mean, this would be godly. The dexterity on here does not matter. It does not matter at all because you've got a low weapon DPS So it completely would negate any sort of dexterity roll here.